Now recognizes Mr. Crane for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen, for showing up today. I'm going to be honest, I love being lectured and gaslit by Democrat members on this panel that have never served this country, are not veterans, and have never received health care at the VA about how we're trying to privatize the VA. I want to repeat what Chairman Boss says. That is absolutely not what we're trying to do. We're here to conduct oversight because this isn't your money. It's not my money. This is the taxpayers' money. And they sent us here to try to be better stewards of it, something that we all know that we're not good at in this town. I want to start with you, Dr. Al Nahal. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Perfectly.
Great. So you're seeking an additional $3 billion today after the VA budget was fully funded. Is that correct, sir?
VHA, the healthcare system, is requesting $12 billion in additional funds for the healthcare system. Okay. You may be referring to the VBA funding.
Okay. Thank you. So $12 billion.
Yes, for VHA.
So we do understand, sir, that the VA is a massive organization and has a very important mission, and that projections aren't always able to foresee and account for every unexpected thing that might come down the path with how big the mission is. But it does make it harder to swallow when we read reports from the IG about how millions of dollars that were supposed to be used for veterans go to bonuses for senior executives at the VA. Do you understand how that might create an optical issue?
Of course, Congressman.
Mr. Missel, you're the Inspector General, is that correct?
That's correct.
How much money are we talking about here? How much money was supposed to go towards veterans that went towards bonuses for senior executives?
$10.8 million.
$10.8 million?
Yes.
It's not a small sum, is it, sir?
No, sir.
Did you interview Dr. El Nahal on this matter, sir?
Yes, we did.
What did you find?
What we found is that Dr. El Nahal didn't follow the process that was or VHA didn't follow the process that was in place, which was really not to group employees very broadly. What they did is they gave the incentive to all seniors executives instead of looking at what their criteria was. Are these people that fall under a different category? And then the controls broke down that were in place that where people raised questions, but it never stopped.
Mr. Jacobs, did you sign off on that decision?
I did approve the decision, yes, sir.
Why is that?
Congressman, as we were working to implement the PACT Act, one of the critical concerns we had was about, excuse me, recruiting and retaining the workforce and the leadership that we need to meet the growing demand of veterans as a result of the PACT Act. And I was concerned about our ability to retain the leadership that was critical to our ability to launch the PACT Act within months rather than years, and to implement the policies that were needed to do so. And ultimately, what we realized is that we erred in the way that we implemented it. And so there were missed opportunities as an organization where voices raised concern, there were concerns raised that didn't get to us, expressing disagreement. And there were also personal shortcomings on my
Real quick, Mr. Jacobs, what has been done to rectify this issue?
Congressman, we have recouped 93% of the senior executive CSI payments for central office leaders. We notified...
Were you ordered to do that, Dr. El Nahal? Was that your call to recoup that money, or was it the secretary?
It was the secretary's call. He did work with Undersecretary Jacobs and myself, and we, of course, agreed with that decision.
When we see things like that happen, because Dr. El Nahal, I'm sure this isn't the last time that you'll appear before this committee, is there anything else, any decisions that you've made along those same type of lines that the OIG, or the IG is going to be writing reports about in the future that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of, Congressman, and as my colleague Josh just said, I definitely made mistakes myself. There were mistakes made across the agency on this. To the extent that any veteran heard about this and had their trust compromised in the VA, I apologize to them. And my most important task now is to make sure that this never happens again. And we implement all of the recommendations that we concurred with in Mr. Missel's and the IG's report. And my commitment to you is to ensure that all of them are implemented.
Thank you, Doctor, and I appreciate you taking accountability for that. It's not something that happens often up here in Washington. I yield back.